As ever, we've selected One Chai as our sponsor for this weekend. Ninth, I think, is possible. It's arguably the toughest race we're going to have this season, but it's possible we could hit ninth. And if we do, including bonuses, we should actually do very nicely indeed in terms of a bit of cash money coming in. So. I mean, 700,000 out means that for the 11 races we've got left this season, we're actually going to have a surplus left, which will mean extra parts. Extra parts, good. So here we are in Italy. It's going to be a fantastic race weekend. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We're going to get quite an early read, I would hope, on what the cars are capable of. I'm very likely to finish up at the back of the grid after practice, but then it's not based on grid position or practice times or any qualification like that. So it shouldn't make that much of a difference. The real question is going to be, is there an advantage to be had during the race itself? The weather looks relatively stable for this test session. We shall put Vanessa in car 1 and Bjorn in... All right, car 2. Whatever you like, Vanessa. If 2's your lucky number. Bjorn, however, with his 5 feedback, yeah. What do you think of that there, Nicky? Is going to hopefully get us in the right place. Right, let's have a look at Bjorn's car. We're getting nothing useful here. However, downforce, if this is a fast track, lower downforce tends to be the order of the day. So we'll drop this to, let's go for a 13.7, which is quite aggressive. We'll get a feel for whether that's any good relatively quickly. Top speed, let's lengthen those gears a little more. That's very long gearing. Let's try that. And then the handling, deceleration, which means fairly sharp corner, so tending towards the oversteer ever so slightly. I think that might do the trick. Tyre choice, we'll go with super soft and hope that that's going to pay off for us. Let's get Silvera organised here as well. We will also tend towards lower downforce. Although her mechanic is always, well, so far this season, her mechanic team have been a little bit off as far as where a setup actually should be. But to say that she needs better top speed, I think that's a given. We already understood that. But once again, we'll tend towards the oversteer somewhat and see where that gets us. Again, soft tyres. Let's get them out there and see how we go. Take the practice. Get out. Yep. Off you go. Get out. Right, and we'll issue instructions once they're out and about. Right, give it everything you've got. We might as well try this stuff out and see where it gets us. Let's kill off the standings table. No? Guess detailed standings. No, don't need that. All right, we'll leave that where it is. I was just hoping for a better view of things, but so be it. Let's zoom it out so we can get a feel for the track. Now, there's a couple of kind of chicaney corners going on, which is clearly where the braking is going to come into play. But Silvera snaked her way through that without too much trouble, so it's not that big deal. But look at the length of these straights, and this is where that top speed is going to be all important. And frankly, the car just does not have it yet. We'll bring Silvera in this lap. We won't let her complete it. But I want to get her car tuned since she's driving the better car. Bjorn can stick it out for an extra lap and record a full time, and we'll see what that leads us to. There he goes now. He's gone through. 1:11.928. Okay, right. Well, I've seen worse. Actually, I haven't seen better or worse at the moment because nobody else has finished a flying lap. Right, downforce is only okay, handling's only okay, but the speed balance is great. Okay. So what are you saying to me? Do you want more downforce? Doesn't seem right. Let's get you up to 0.8. It's maybe not aggressive enough, but let's go to 0.8 and see if that helps. Speed balance. again, we're lengthening. Those are very long gear ratios. I do not trust it. We'll tend towards some more oversteer, which again, this feels very severe. I don't think that's the right setup, but we'll leave it where it is and see where it gets us. Off you go. Yeah, that doesn't feel like the right kind of setup to me at all. Anyway, Bjelland is still number one at the moment, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, quite a few cars have also completed a lap now, and that's quite a good sign. He's he's not a good driver, and neither is he in a good car. So I'm at a bit of a loss to understand why that might be. Anyway, let's have a look. Downforce. Not happy with the downforce, but the speed balance he thinks is great. This is very strange. Right. Okay. Well, let's take you to 15.5 there, which is quite a shift when it comes to downforce. Now you're going to lose some top end in the straights. Well, in fact, you're going to lose a lot of top end in the straights. But there it is. We've got the speed balance back again. Those are some very long gearings, and we'll tend your handling towards a little more understeer and see if you can give us a better read as a result of that. Yep, that all looks good. Tyres look fine for another run. Off you go. Right, let's go back to Silvera. We'll get her to rinse the car some more, assuming, of course, this doesn't actually damage the car. That's something I've not previously considered, but there it is. And hopefully I can get some kind of an indicator. Right. Better downforce. All right. Well, that was the 0.8 that she seems to be enjoying. Right. Come on, Bjorn. Put your foot down. Let's see what you're made of. Now, if I bring Silvera in now, she's got time to record a full lap time after changes, but I'm gonna bring her in this time, and well, she's just taken number one spot with 110, better than the current leader, which was Wolfrath, who has historically been quite the driver. There's Silvera on low fuel. I'll ease her off some, and then hopefully she can make it back without running out of juice. Gear ratios are just right. All right. Well, I'm fairly baffled that the handling's wrong. No. What about? Okay. She doesn't want oversteer. Well, understeer doesn't feel right for me on this particular setup. Yep, it's definitely understeer. All right. Okay. Fine. We'll tighten it up some. So I'm going to do to top speed. It actually nudges top speed in a slightly more appropriate direction. See, I don't buy that. I don't buy it. But we'll go with that and see if she likes that any better. And then, yeah, you've got enough tyres there to finish off the practice session, and hopefully you can make some goods out of that. Meanwhile, Bjorn's on his way in. And he's still hanging on to fourth place. Not the quickest time ever, but he's hanging on to fourth. I doubt very much that we'll hold the top position by the end of practice. And of course, historically, good practice has had absolutely no impact on how we've done in the race. So there's that to consider. It looks like Bjorn's actually quite happy with the car now. Suspension stiffness at 56. He's reported that as excellent. The downforce is too much. You want less downforce than that. Now, you've got a slightly different car, so we'll whack you at 15 instead of 14.8, which is where Silvera's got it. The handling, we'll leave it as it is. The top speed, we'll leave it as it is. Good is good enough, I think. Plus, he's not the one driving in the race anyway. It's going to be Hazel driving in the race. But I have to put this guy in for practice at least if I'm going to get a minor payday from him. And given that he's covering the cost of most of our driving resources for each race, you know, it would behoove me to make that happen. Right, Vanessa, put your foot down a little bit. See what you can get out of it. Same for you, Bjorn. Give it a spin. There's absolutely no harm in you giving the car a bit of stick. Vanessa, it seems, is actually 0.8 of a second faster than Wolfrath, who's in second. I still don't think she's going to hold on to that place, but so far, with only a minute and a half to go, I don't think many people are going to get ahead of her, and that's interesting to say the least. Certainly, I would expect to see our social media channel lighting up quite nicely. Bjorn's not happy with the changes to downforce, the madman. But I wonder if that is at least in part due to him not being maybe there's a statistical thing in there. So it could be that Silvera's own stats. Can we call them up while we're in the race? I don't think so. But yes, because Silvera may have a slightly different cornering stat, maybe she prefers a different downforce setting. I couldn't honestly tell you for sure. Anyway, both of them have got completely hammered tyres by the end of that practice session, but I have to say I'm very pleased with their performance. I don't think it's going to be reflected in the race, but even so, first and fourth in practice, I'm pretty flipping pleased with that. So here we go, social media's reporting. Mark Witt is saying, I'm at Milan in person today, so excited some P just came out, go bulldozer power. That's lovely. Motor Racing Magazine, Jiro Kagawa, Silvera was fastest in practice, followed by second, Wolfrath. Great, Jiro. That's insightful reporting as ever. Vanessa saying, really great job, everyone, today. We're set up beautifully for the rest of the weekend. I really hope you follow through. Getting a podium finish for the first time ever in the history of the team would be splendid, but I really can't see it happening. Gazzetta di Motori with Lisa Amorosi reporting Vanessa Silvera finishes top. Pretty impressive stuff. I'm just not feeling it. I can't possibly believe that there's going to be any results coming out of this in the slightest. As mentioned, a 9th place would actually be financially very, very nice. But, you know, we're just going to have to see how it pans out. Right, let's have a look. What's the weather forecast saying? The weather forecast is saying it's going to stay sunny. Now, we've already got really decent fuel economy. And so far, the winning racers have been those who've been the lower pit stoppers. So the question is, do we aim for a fewer number of pit stops as possible, which would mean harder tyres, or do we go for hammering the hell out of the tyres quickly and stopping more regularly, which would allow us to respond to any rain that came up? I mean, the weather's saying that there's no rain anywhere in sight until at least lap 6, but I don't really know. Performance increase on soft tyres. Soft tyres wear more slowly. Yes, we'll take that, and you can have race trim as well. What are you thinking here? Would we rather have the performance increase? What's your thinking? You're putting this together without a plan. You're thinking, oh, maybe we put him on super soft tyres and keep him out there longer. But super soft tyres, you go through them at a rate of knots anyway. Yeah, okay, so what about getting some performance out of them? Is Nicholas Hazel going to be our insurance policy, or is he going to be the rip through the car driver? He's going to be our insurance policy, and here's why. He's going to be our insurance policy because there we go. That's what we're giving him, because he's got the slower car, and therefore, if he drives a little more slowly anyway, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter at all. Right, Vanessa, meanwhile, what can you have? He'll have race trim, obviously. Do we want to go risk taper? Intermediates, no. Performance increase, yes. Soft tyres, performance increase. Normally, I would go with the risk taker, which is a sensible thing to do if we're going to be pitting more often. Oh, But double performance increase, right? That's got to be worth having. 20% extra performance. I don't know if it stacks, but, you know, we'll... Yeah, okay, I've made my decision. Right. Double excellent, good. Good, no. Double great, good. Good, excellent, good. No, it's going to be fine, I'm sure. Right, driving strategy. Who's doing what? Vanessa, we want you to thump it from the get-go. Hazel, old son, I want you to keep it neutral. Where I need to give you some tires. Tires. I need to change your tires. Here we go. Hazel, right, insurance policy man, you are going on medium tires. Make them last. 10 laps of fuel. Now then, if I'm thinking that Vanessa's going to try and come in twice, and the race is 23 laps in length, and we can drop that to about 8 laps of fuel for her, right? Or leave it at 10 and allow her to just floor it all the way through. Regardless, let's go to fuel options. Let's drop it by 2 laps there. So she can't be too aggressive, but somewhat aggressive is absolutely fine. So we're planning 2 stops for Silvera. We're going to see if we can get away with 1 stop. I think that's incredibly unlikely. We're not going to get away with 1 stop for Hazel, but we might be able to do effectively a splash and go if he can look after those tyres. He's going to be holding up the pack, which is a strategy we used in the last race that allowed us to capitalise by keeping those cars close together, so Hazel could actually go tearing through. I don't think I've got it this week. I don't think I've got it at all. Off we go. Wolfrath Plastic, front of the grid, followed by Longo and Hong Lao. On the 3rd row, you've got Masilella and Kita Sato behind them. Chris Shaw and Xiaohua Wu Yao. My Chinese pronunciation is lousy. On the 5th row, Steve Mush, Vanessa Silvera. Mush, of course, our age-old rival. Then Sarah Thomas and Playmoto with a broken neck. Followed by Megahertz and Hero of the Revolution, Nicholas Hazel. Sean Mendez and Trolley Fodder on the 8th row, followed by Finger Puppet and P. Ruto, who is currently 3rd in the championship. Then Scott Price, who is currently 2nd, and Hans 00. Ruto's form appears to be around the 10 mark in today's race. I wonder if that's going to translate into a win. But we're on the grid. Lights are on. And they're away. We're going to follow Silvera as she's at the front, and she has been told to drive like a maniac. We touched on 8th there briefly, but we're in 9th now. It's really just a question of whether she can keep pace with the cars ahead of her. I mean, it does look like a tiny bit of a gap opens up when you do hit a straight, but that just might be me imagining it early on. Whoever it is in 7th at the moment, that's Shaw. He doesn't look particularly competitive, but we're not managing to pull away from the accursed Playmoto as Silvera moves through into a comfortable 8th, and she's up to 6th. Now she's going to eat those tyres quite quickly unless we're a little more careful than that. Now remember that Silvera is going to come in quite early. Tell you what, get your tyres up to temperature, would you, Hazel, as you're in last place? All right, I guess that was a strategy that was maybe not worth calling. But if we can nurse the car here, let's go for full-on car nursage. But he's going to be dropping places so quickly that I'd be amazed if we managed to get anything out of that. 5 and a bit laps of fuel left in Vanessa's car, as she eases, just hammers it through into 4th. For those of you who said that we should believe in Vanessa Hazel and give her... Vanessa Hazel, they're not married. Vanessa Silvera and give her the better car. She seems to be living up to that potential as we ease it back on the engine just a little bit. Meanwhile, Hazel's tyres are still cold. Give it some welly for a bit there, man. See if we can't, you know, can't get it rolling some. Now, Silvera can hold off the opposition, and it's Thomas who's currently closing in on her, being half a second behind at present, despite running on the slightly tougher compound tyres, which is remarkable. But that's going to come down to the overall capabilities of our engine when it comes to straights, and then we will put the foot down there. Steve Mush and Nick Hazel appear to be in some kind of deadlock, duel to the death, overtaking competition, but I honestly couldn't care less. I have to keep my eye on Vanessa right now so that I bring her in for fuel at exactly the right lap. Otherwise, otherwise that'll be bad. Hazel's up to 19th. Way to go, Hazel. Can we make it to the end of the race with this much fuel? No, Vanessa, we can't. But then neither are we planning to. The whole intention here is that we get you in early, fill you up with some go-go juice, and then get you back out again before the traffic jam starts. You can go a little more aggressive on your tyres, as you've only got a lap and a bit left to go, and you've still got 40% tyre on the thing as well. Tyres are getting a bit hot, and then as much as they start to wear when the tyres get hot, they also don't perform as well. 1.2 laps to go. Where are we? Right, that's just past the pit lane now, so we'll bring her in on the next one. We'll give her some fresh tyres. 8 laps of fuel seem to be about right, although we will be coming in on lap 8. I guess we calculated that properly then. So we could go 8 again. No, let's not. Let's go 9 this time round, and that way we won't have to nurse the car over the finish line. Instead, we'll be able to give it everything we've got in the last period. Do we want to go risky? Well, yes, we do want to go risky. Should we? It's going to save us 2 seconds. I think we have to. I think if this strategy is going to pay off, we've got to be willing to take risks. I'm going to ease back on fuel burn here. We'll probably lose our place to Thomas, but she has to have enough fuel to make it into the pits. If she doesn't have the fuel to make it into the pits, this whole show is a disaster. She's not got much juice left. Oh, no, I've hosed it. There we go. She just made it in, but I got it wrong. Could have eased off a little bit quicker there, and that might have saved our bacon, but, well, it wasn't to be, as Silvera is now at the back of the pack with 00. Interesting switching tyre choice, having come into the pits as well. So we need to get past the ever favoured Hans 00 in order to get back into contention, as other drivers are now coming into the pits. But if we can't get past this guy, we're really not going to capitalise on anything at all. Hazel, meanwhile, is up to 8th. He's got 2 and a bit laps worth of fuel left. He's absolutely murdering his tyres. I have to ask whether that's going to hurt him or not. But let's ease Vanessa off a touch. There's no need for us to be too brutal on the car. Wu Yao's having engine trouble, and everybody's in the pits now, as your man Hazel there, who we need to start paying attention to. He's going to have to come in this lap. Now, what did that actually get us? It got us an extra 2 laps. So by doing the same again, I think is going to allow us to capitalise. But even then, he's still going to have to do... No. Ease that. Fill her up. Okay, whatever. How are the parts looking? Parts looking adequate. Pit strategy. Do we want to go fast? No. He's our insurance driver. Let's keep it safe. Let's keep it clean. Right. You can have all the energy in the world. As Hazel's in first. Fodder's the only other driver who hasn't come in, but they both come in now. Predicted to come out in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Well, there it is. Ease it off some. Silveira managed to... so the strategy's actually paid off reasonably well. 00's the man who's really capitalised, though, coming out in 4th, as Silveira now in 5th overall. And to be honest, before we went into this pit interchange, that's pretty much where she was. Her tyres feel really hot. Let's back off on the tyres a bit as we look to see whether the rain that was forecast is going to happen, and it doesn't look like it is. Okay, well, that's okay. We planned for many eventualities here. You're going to have to ease off on them some more, otherwise they are not going to last your entire duration. What's she got? She's got just over 3-second gap ahead of the driver who's in front. Hazel, meanwhile, could possibly close down P. Ruto, who's on the softer compound tire, on the harder compound, softer compound, on different tyres, and and that might make a bit of a difference. Silveira's managing to hold her 3-second cushion, and that's not bad. So far, I'm pretty pleased with how this is going. Although the tyres aren't going to last much longer, they don't have to, as we've got 1 and a bit laps to go before she comes in for her second and hopefully final stop. I say hopefully because this is motorsport, and anything could happen. Now, if we ease off on the fuel, we can get 1 more lap out of it before we come in, which will guarantee us to get round. It's going to be fearsomely close. Pit this lap, Silveira, and whatever you were talking about just there, don't worry about it. Right. And it honestly isn't the tyres that are going to cause her problem. It's going to be fuel. The brakes are starting to look a bit cooked. The engine has looked better, but the brakes are the concern. Oh, dearie me. We'll bring her in for another quick stop and see if that helps. Starting to struggle a bit with tyre wear. Don't worry about it, but ease right back on the fuel, because this could go exactly the same way as it did last time. We must have lost very few... And we could have lost a lot more time than we actually did, but even so, we did lose time coming into the pits as we ran out of juice on the way in. Where are we? We're coming into the pits now. We actually have plenty left as it happens. I want no mistakes here. I want no mistakes. No mistakes. There we go. So 7 and somewhat more than that laps to go. But we now have a full tank of fuel, so she can actually go, hammer down to get this happening. Masilella's in for a second stop. Wolfrath is having some repairs done and is also in. 00 comes in. I don't think we're going to capitalise on that. 00 seems to have... the combination that they've got going on seems to be working very well for them. Hazel, meanwhile, has got at least 3 laps still out on the track, and that's where we could make a difference. That's where all of this could come good. Let's ease back on the tyres a little bit, but feel free to keep rinsing the fuel, even though that is harder on the engine. And that, in itself, may be a concern. So, who have we got? So, Masilella is in 5th after his second stop. That's very, very promising. They have had engine difficulties or mechanical difficulties in the previous races, but that he's managing to hold position at this stage of the race with 00 in 9th as the next stop driver. As the next wave of pit stops occurs, this is high energy stuff right here. Silveira in 13th. She's actually the 4th, 5th. She's not doing great. 7th place overall. Hold on, better bring Hazel in as soon as possible. Took my eye off the ball there, but he can go out on better tyres now. How many laps are you going to have left? Not many. We'll give you 6 laps worth of fuel. How's your part condition? Don't look at it too. He's nursed those parts like an absolute demon. Let's go fast stop. Why the hell not? How far away from the pits is he? I worry about this because he should have enough fuel left, or has he? It's going to be close. All right, ease off on the fuel. You can lose a place. We don't mind that too much. Oh, he's okay. He could have hammered it. I was slightly mistaken as to where he was. He's got the fuel. He's coming out the pits. Put your foot down. Okay, so two different strategies, and we're going to see how that pays off as Hazel is down in 14th, but Silvera is a very, very admirable 5th place with a, let's call it 4-second. Why not? It's over 4 seconds. A 4-second lead over Moto, but we just had another pit stop from Fodder, which propels Silvera to 4th place overall with a nice cushion over the next driver. Matt Silella's retired. My goodness me. Silvera is in podium. Hold it together. Keep it together. We want our first podium. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We're going to ignore it. We can't give up on the dream of a podium finish here from Silvera. I don't care if her brakes are in trouble. We're going to ease off on the fuel usage. I might ease off on everything just to keep her in the race at this stage. We have got a nice cushion over Moto. You know, just don't break the car, Vanessa. Actually, we might not have enough fuel. We're going through fuel at a heck of a rate right now as we enter the last lap. Oh my, I don't think we have got enough fuel. I think this is really bad. This is really, really bad. She hasn't got the fuel. It looked like she had tons of fuel left, but she's now going through it so fast. I don't think brakes use fuel. Certainly not last time I checked. Come on, get it done. Get it done. Get it done. There's the fuel gone, but she's over the line. Freaking 3rd place. Oh, yes. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, that. Oh, we booked that fuel absolutely flawlessly there as 00 comes away with the win. Enough respect there to 00 with Thomas in 2nd, but Silvera 3rd place. Oh my goodness me. Oh, and you know, we kept it on the edge of the seat for everybody concerned as well, as the fuel situation made things jolly exciting towards the end. And once again, exciting pit strategies there made it all happen as 00 came in on the same lap as we did for his first set of tyres, but then managed to hang on for longer, which is the clever bit, I think, with the 2nd stint. But they've got a better car. That's all it is. Yeah, there's nothing clever about them in the slightest. Better car. That's how they pulled that off. Yeah, nothing special about that. We had to do it all with cunning pit stoppery and regular tweakage of driving. Where did Hazel finish up? 11th. I don't care. But that's 28 more points for the team. Go team. Over the weekend. 11th is actually pretty respectable. I don't mind 11th on the backup car. It's a picture of a trophy. I've not seen one of them before. Hey, that's brilliant. Oh, we're going to stick that one in the trophy cabinet. Well, that's amazing. We don't care about Hans 00. Stuff him. He is not the hero of the revolution. Anyway, here's the championship standings with Vanessa Silvera now in the top 10. Tied for points with her teammate, Nicholas Hazel. This is good stuff from the team. Vanessa has earned the right to stick in the lead car, I think. Basically, the principle I'm going to run from here on in is if you do well in the lead car, you can keep the lead car. If you are beaten by the other driver, we will do a switcheroo. So, Nikki, you want a better car? Do better than Vanessa. All right? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Team standings-wise, that's allowed us to pull away from Octane Racing a little. We're 2 points adrift of silver, but that's okay too. We are a long way away from the area at which Kurt gets very, very disappointed. So, heading over to social media, Sam Pirelli got my lucky Archer BMR t-shirt on for my hot date tonight. Archer of a really terrible team. Federico Fontanini, good drive from Hans 00. He's being carried by Garuda Racing. It's so obvious. I agree. Zoe Bassett, happy for Hans 00, but my boys, Bulldozer Power. Well, I think you'll find we've got a lady driver. Pretty close. Bulldozer Powers, Vanessa Silvera finished his practice on top. Pretty impressive stuff there. Ros, that was from practice. I've read that before. Okay, so having a look and see how we're getting on. So we're making progress. So these stat increases that we've got going on here, terrible form from Nicholas there, but then he is inconsistent. Not particularly adaptable, although he's about ready to level that up. At least I think that's what this means. I assume this means how close they are to pinging it over and getting another point. He's also terrible at braking. But yeah, maybe getting another point of adaptability would be helpful. Vanessa, meanwhile, is gaining far slower. And she's only, I mean, she's still under the age of 20. Bjorn got absolutely nothing, but we really don't care. He is never going to see an actual race, right? Kurt, very, very happy, as well he should be, since we finished in 3rd place. And 703,000 income, well, or rather 703,000 expenditure, which is below where we need in order to ensure that we're still solvent next season. Right. Meanwhile, World Motorsport Championships come back from Tondela for those of you who are interested. Johnson, Fishburne, Tel Spikorai, again with another good result, which puts Tel Spikorai now all alone in 5th, chomping at the heels of Reaper 86 and Ardon. Meanwhile, the Asia Pacific Super Cup, we've got H&R finishing first with Pix Elator and then Wolf Bite as the 1, 2, 3, which puts 4-star in first, but only just now with Chinar, Hawk, Fisher, Smith, Canuck coming up behind. And then the European racing season, as we've just seen, Hans 00, Sarah Thomas, Vanessa Silvera, the top 3 drivers in this race. Anyway, I've been Colonel Failure. Thank you very much for watching today. Bulldozer Power will be back very soon with the next race in the season. Why not follow at Bulldozer Power on their Twitter in order to join in the weekly chat surrounding the team. That would be fun, wouldn't it? If you can't do that, hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Look at this, look, there's a Bulldozer Power logo on the podium. Never thought it would happen. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheerio.